In this installment, we're going to be going over the NBA bet slate for Friday, March 22nd. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our Friday NBA bet slate, March 22nd. But before I deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91, and don't forget about that Patreon. Right now, we're at the homepage of the YouTube channel. We are currently at 2.34 thousand subscribers. Our next goal is 3K. Let's continue to push forward. Anyone that's already subscribed, continue to like and comment. That helps the YouTube algorithm. And for everyone else that is not subscribed, join the community that we're building right now and subscribe this very second. All right, join the community that we have in Patreon and join the community that we have in the YouTube comment section down below. It's beautiful over here. Come join the positive vibes. All right. For anyone wanting the picks for March Madness, you got to sign up for that Patreon as well. The future for the March Madness is already in there, and I want to get you guys ready for NFL draft is coming up. We have fantasy football. All that's going to be provided, and MLB as well. So all that is provided in that link down below. Let's get with this slate. First game up for the Friday slate, we got a rematch of a couple days ago. Boston Celtics 55-14 going up against the Detroit Pistons, who are 12-57. And this is going to be in Detroit here. Looking at the current odds, you can get the Celtics at a minus 1,200 on the money line, with the comeback on the Pistons at a plus 725. All right, point spread currently is 12.5 on both sides, with the total at 224.5. For the injury report, we're waiting on news for all the major guys. Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, and Al Horford are all questionable at this moment. We do not know if they're going to be definitively playing. Obviously, one of these two guys, or two of these three guys, or four, somebody's missing something. All right. Hopefully, if they're all clear, that's perfect. That's great. That's great. We'll go all in on the Detroit Pistons, but wait on news for the Boston Celtics. That's why I provide that link down below for RotoWire or Roto World, so you can be up to date with injury news. All right. Detroit Pistons, horrible news about Isaiah Stewart. He's out for the year. Isaiah Thompson is out for the year. Quentin Grimes is going to be out for the game against the Celtics, and Taj Gibson, who they just acquired, is going to be out as well. So they're going to be down to Jalen Duren, James Wiseman. They're going to have to be the bigs to help them go up against the Boston Celtics. These two teams have already played twice this year, and it's been both for the Boston Celtics, and both of those games were in Boston. This one is in Detroit, a little bit different here. Boston Celtics are on a 7-game winning streak, and the Pistons are on a 4-game losing streak. All right, so if we're looking at some numbers here, everything's like split down the middle. Celtics against the spread, they're 35-29 as favorites. But as when they play away, the Celtics against the spread are only 16-15, so just barely over 500 there. On the other hand, the Pistons are 17-18 at home against the spread, so barely under 500. But as dogs, they're 31-30. So, so 31-30. So just slightly over 500. So it's very up and down here. I'm just going to go with the better team here. Obviously, Boston Celtics. I feel more comfortable if I buy the points down. So I don't want to lose by 11 or 10. Take the 9.5. Get below the double-digit number just in case it be some weird case. Just like the Timberwolves game the other day. Timberwolves was a 15.5-point favorite. They wind up winning by 12. I don't want to lose by that. Give me the 10. Just give me the 9.5. Most likely they'll win by double digits, but they might come how Vegas works. They get you. They might come 1 or 2 points short, and you're like, oh, you get the shit end of the stick. So Give me the 9.5 for the Celtics. And if I'm choosing an over and under, give me the under 224.5. In the two previous meetings, the first game was 250 points. That went into overtime, so you got to factor that in. The second game was 213 points. I feel like that's going to be the range where it's more realistic because Celtics are a strong offense. Pistons are going to struggle and try to catch up, but there's not enough firepower. So I feel like a similar area of score is going to happen again. So under 224.5 and Celtics minus 9.5. Next game up, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are currently 48-20, going up against the Toronto Raptors, who are 23-46. Looking at the odds right now, OKC Thunder get them on the money line at a minus 1,600, with the get back for the Toronto Raptors at a plus 875. The current point spread is 15.5, and this is the second time again. Thunder 15.5 point spread here. They were 15.5 at home the previous game. Now they're 15.5 on the road, just letting you guys know. Total is at 228.5, all right? For the public bet percentage, 90% of the bets, 77% of the money on OKC to win. For the point spread, 53% of the bets and 58% of the money on Toronto to cover. And for the total here, 84% of the bets, 80% of the money towards the over 228.5. For the injury report for the Thunder, there's no injuries. For Toronto, they are absolutely decimated. All right. Chris Boucher, torn ACL. RJ Barrett still dealing with the loss of his brother. He's out for personal reasons. There's no timetable for him. Emmanuel Quickly's out. There's no timetable for him. They lost Siakam. There's just a lot going on with Toronto Raptors. They are absolutely depleted here. Looking at the previous matchup between these two teams, that was in February. That was an 8-point win by OKC. That was a total of 262 here. Looking at the previous couple games, Toronto Raptors scored 89 points, 96 points, 103, and 104. I'm very curious about. I don't think they can reach this over. They have not been able to put up some points here. So we're going to go with a clean sweep here. Give me, obviously, Thunder to win the game. I want you to take the spread, but obviously, I'd rather you take points. If you want to take Thunder minus 9.5, all right? I also think they cover that entire spread because these are two teams here on 4-game losing streaks against the spread. But the thing is, the Toronto Raptors, they have nobody. They've probably given up. This team has no hope right now, and this might just be that 20-point blowout, okay? Thunder probably bounce back and clear this number of 15, but if you want to play it safe, bump it down. Take the 9.5. I feel like they'll win by double digits anyway. You could be creative. First half full game. You could do that as well. You could do first half spread. That spread is probably around 7 to 8 points there. I'll take that. All right. You can get very creative with these big spreads here. And if I'm choosing an over or under, give me the under 228. I don't think the Raptors are able to score 80 points. Okay. We'll see. But that's what we're rolling with. Next up, we have East versus West here. Indianapolis Pacers 39-31, going up against the Golden State Warriors, who are 36-32. Looking at the current odds right now, Warriors on the money line at a minus 175 at home, and the Pacers on the other side, you can get them at a plus 145 on the money line. The current point spread is at 4.5 on both sides, with the total at 236.5. Currently, looking at the injury report right now, we need to wait on news about Obi Toppin. Benedict Matherin's already out for the season. And then for the Warriors, they have a clean bill of health. Looking at these two previous teams here, these teams have faced already in February. That was a blowout win by Golden State in Indiana. And that was a huge blowout right there, 22 points. And that total was 240 points. Now, second matchup here in Golden State. Can the Indianapolis Pacers get some revenge? And that's what I'm feeling about. I'm going to be going with the Pacers in this matchup. Looking at their against the spread numbers for the Warriors at home, they're 16-20. That's under 500. And as home favorites, when you put those two together, they are 11 and 18. That's around 37%. So we're going to be going with the Pacers here. Pacers are a better team as an underdog. They're 20 and 13 against the spread as dogs, so above 500. And they're 19 and 15 away against the spread straight up. So we're going to be going with the Pacers here. Give me the plus 4.5 point spread. If you want to sprinkle on the money line, I think this is where the upset is for this slate. And if we're choosing a over under 236.5, give me the over 236.5. I think these two teams put up a ton of points here. The previous game was at 240, so we have a little bit of clearance here, and so I like the over as well. Next game we have on the slate, Memphis Grizzlies, who are currently 23 and 47, going up against the San Antonio Spurs, who are 15 and 14. Looking at the current odds here over to the left, we have the Spurs on the money line at minus 220, with the comeback of the Grizzlies on the money line at a plus 190. For the total, it's currently at 219.5 on both sides, with the spread at a 6.5 on both sides. It opened at 4.5, so the points have been bought up and made this line to a 6.5 currently. For the injury report here, Grizzlies are going to be without a lot of guys, just like have they been for the past couple, pretty much a month and a half, pretty much all season. They've been pretty injured. So Watanabe out, Luke Kennard out, Lamar Stevens out, Brandon Clark out, Desmond Bane is going to be doubtful, and Vince Williams is going to be doubtful as well. The only guy for the Spurs here that's going to that might miss time, he's currently questionable, is Zach Collins. All right. These two teams here have been struggling as of late. Both of them have lost 4 out of their last 5 games, both teams. So this is a spot where the Spurs can get a little bit of revenge because they already played twice this season, and both games have gone to the Grizzlies. The first game was a total of 228, and then the second game was a total of 204. And one was in Memphis and one was in San Antonio. So they alternated there. So this is their third matchup here. I expect the Spurs to bounce back. This is a front end of a back-to-back for the Spurs. On Friday, they face the Grizzlies. Then they stay home. On Saturday, they face the Phoenix Suns. I expect them to beat the Grizzlies and then obviously struggle against those Phoenix Suns. So we're going to be taking the money line at minus 220 of the Spurs. Do they cover? That's the huge question there. As favorites, the Spurs are one of the best teams at home as favorites. They're 5-1 as favorites this whole entire season. So when they tend to win, they tend to cover. So if you want to, definitely go with that spread of minus 6.5. If you want to play it safe, take the money line at minus 220. And if I had a choice of the over under this 219.5, I would go with the under 219.5, okay, in this particular matchup. Let's move on to the next. Next up, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 43 and 26, going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 47 and 22. Looking at the current odds, you get Minnesota at home minus 210 on the money line, with the comeback on the Cavaliers at plus 180. The current total is not available yet. We're still waiting on a lot of injury news here. That's why there's no total. And the spread is currently at a 5.5 on both sides. Okay. Looking at this injury report, like I said, Strus, Dean Wade, and Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell should be out another game or two with his nose injury. And then Max Strus and Dean Wade, they're all trending in the correct direction, progressing from their rehab. Okay, so they're not going to be back for this game. Hopefully soon after they can. All right, for the Minnesota Timberwolves, we're waiting on all these guys. Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, Anthony Edwards, all are questionable right now. So definitely stay tuned to RotoWire or RotoWorld with injury news, because especially Anthony Edwards, he's going to fluctuate that line hugely. And I want at least Rudy Gobert or Naz Reid. I need one of those centers to be activated in this game going up against Cleveland, because you got Jared Allen at center who could dominate down there, get another 20-20 like he did in the previous game. Both of these teams Cavaliers are struggling a little bit. Won 2 out of their last 5 games. Timberwolves a little bit better. 3 out of their last 5 games. They already played in Cleveland. That total was 217, and that was a Cavaliers win. So Timberwolves looking for a little bit of revenge as of right now. So with the news of obviously the line and no news on who's in or out, the best possible value right now is that plus 5.5 for Cleveland. But I do think Minnesota gets the win. All right, so I expect Edwards to play in this game. I'm going to I'm giving you the money line of Timberwolves, but if you want better value, then take the points of the Cleveland Cavaliers at that plus 5.5. Because if you see activation of Anthony Edwards, of a Rudy Gobert or Naz Reid, that line will adjust slightly. Okay, so matter of fact, wait. So if those 2 guys are in, it's probably going to jump up or might stay about the same. I expect from 7 to 5.5. So wait, be patient on that spread. I would take the money line now. That would adjust the most if we get good news about Edwards, Gobert, and Naz Reid. All right. Next game, we have the New Orleans Pelicans 42-27 going up against the Miami Heat, who are 38-31. This is the second game of a back-to-back for the Pelicans. They let us down the previous night. They got blown out by the Orlando Magic, and now they're going up against the Miami Heat. You know how I like teams on I like the opposite to happen. So they lost their last game, have an opportunity to redeem themselves in this one. Looking at the odds right now, minus 175 on the money line for the Miami Heat, with the comeback on the Pelicans at a plus 150. There's no current total right now. We're waiting on injury news. Brandon Ingram left the game against Orlando, and that was a knee injury. He was able to walk off. So hopefully it's some good news. It's minor, and he could be able to play against Miami. We will see. All right. As of right now, the spread is at a 4.5. It opened up at a 1.5, and it went up, obviously, because of the injury news to Brandon Ingram to 4.5. All right. So looking at the injury report, Brandon Ingram, obviously, and then some Matt Ryan and Dyson Daniels are going to be out for the Miami Heat. We're waiting on news about Bam Adebayo. He's currently questionable. And then obviously Kevin Love and Duncan Robinson will be out of this game. All right. So looking at the last 5 here, they have a loss. So that would be 3 out of the last 5 games Pelicans have won. Same thing with the Miami Heat. These 2 teams have already played in February, and that was a win by the Miami Heat of 11 points in New Orleans. So now you get a reverse of the venue here in Miami. We have some injury concerns. I'm gonna be going back to the well here. We're going with the Pelicans plus 4.5 in this game. If you feel confident, maybe you get some better injury news, and then you can go towards that money line. But I'm giving out plus 4.5 for the New Orleans Pelicans. And for the total, I'll post that once it finally comes out. I'll put that in the comment section down below, okay? So pay attention for that as well. Next game, we have a rematch of 2 days ago. LA Clippers 43-25 going up against the Portland Trail Blazers, who are 19-50. This game, yet again, will be in Portland, and the previous game was a beatdown by the Clippers of 13 points to the Trailblazers. Looking at the odds, Clippers on the money line at minus 1,200, with Portland on the comeback at plus 700. No total as of right now. We're still waiting on injury news. And for the spread, it is at a 12.5 on both sides. That's the same exact spread as the previous game. The Clippers won by 13. That was a half-point cover, so very close right there. Almost missed out, but they did cover that number in the previous game. Looking at the injury report right now, we're waiting on Norman Powell and Terrence Mann. Both of these guys are questionable. For the Portland Trail Blazers, Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Anthony Simons is probable. And we are waiting on news for Matisse Thybulle, okay? Malcolm Brogdon is out. He's going to be out for 2 weeks, okay? So he's a non-factor. Trailblazers have been struggling. They're in a 4-game losing streak. Very desperate team, and they're the home team in this particular game. These two teams have already played 3 times already. So this is a triple revenge spot here for the Trailblazers. All right, they lost to the Clippers by 12, by 5, and then by 13. So for this particular spot here, I am gonna go with the revenge. They had that first cover for the Clippers. I'm taking the Trailblazers to cover this plus 12.5 in this particular matchup here. They might shock the world and take that plus 700. I don't know. But the best value on the board, give me the points here of that plus 12.5 for that one. And if you don't think the back-to-backs work, I've been telling you. I told. Look at this Milwaukee score, 98-96. No one believed me about Brooklyn. Oh, they're not covering the spread. I told you. There's 3 minutes left in this game. The Nets better not win, but I told you that Milwaukee just covered that game before. They're not covering this one, and right now they're looking fine. So, for this particular matchup, take the points of the Portland Trailblazers plus 12.5. If it adjusts, if it goes higher, take that as well. Last but not least, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, who are 38-31, going up against the Los Angeles Lakers, who are 37-32. Looking at the current odds here, we have the Lakers on the money line at a minus 400, with the comeback of the Philadelphia 76ers at a plus 300. The current total is at a 224.5, and the spread is at an 8.5 on both sides. All right. For the injury report for these two teams, the Philadelphia 76ers, we're really just waiting on news about Tobias Harris. I checked, he practiced on Thursday, so he's probably going to play in this game on Friday against the Lakers, so that's good news for them. They get another scorer back. For the Lakers, you're waiting on the same news as usual, LeBron James and Anthony Davis game time decisions, but they most likely are going to play in this game, all right? For the last 5 for both teams, 76ers are struggling, obviously, without Embiid. They have won 2 out of their last 5 games. Lakers are a little bit better. They won 3 out of their last 5 games. And these two teams have already played in November, and that was a blowout win by the 76ers, 138-94. That total was a 232. All right. So for the money line here, we're going to go with the Lakers, but that's minus 400. Let's see if we can find you some better value. The 224 total, I'm going to go towards the over. I like the fact that they're getting Tobias Harris back. These are 2 high-scoring teams, and the majority of these games at home for Lakers tend to go over. If we're looking at against the spread numbers on over-under, the Lakers are, let me go a little bit low. The Lakers are currently 38-31 towards the over. So majority of these games go towards the over when they're playing in LA especially. All right, so I'll take the over 224.5. For the spread, that's the hard part. For against the spread numbers, the Lakers are 500 at home, and as favorites, the Lakers are only 16-23 as favorites. But on the other side, the 76ers aren't good at covering spreads as dogs. They're 10-16 as underdogs against the spread. 8.5 is a pretty. That's not pretty big. That's a decent size number. So I would lean with the Lakers covering the 8.5. I prefer you taking the over 224.5 or taking the money line of the Lakers in a revenge spot here, going up against the 76ers. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel about some of these selections down below in that comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have another play that I did not bring up? All right. Let me know down there below. I'll be back with another video very soon. All right. Peace out.